Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. My name is Rizal, the Traveling Island Girl. This here is a brand new vlog series that I'm starting here on my YouTube channel, and it's called well, here's where you come in. I don't have a name for this series yet. It's going to be a series of interviews, and I'm going to be doing that with some friends of mine, other islanders on all other islands of the Caribbean. Some of these islanders I may know, some of them I may not, but they're all very interesting people with a very interesting story to tell. So the new vlog series, if you can help me name it, I will be eternally grateful. So if you can help out and you have some suggestions for this new vlog series, please put down your suggestion below in the comment box. Now, before we go any further, let me remind you that if you not have done so yet, please subscribe to my channel and let me know if you like this video and if you'd like to see more like it. And then without much further ado, let me introduce you to my first island person of interest, and that is Trudy Nixon. Trudy lives in the neighboring Anguilla. Now, instead of sitting on the beach right now with a rum punch in hand having this conversation, we're having it online. Thank you, COVID. Trudy is the editor of an annual publication there in Anguilla called True Anguilla, and she is a spanking new novel author. Yes, she has a self-published novel that she just brought out called Endless Turquoise. You know those vacation books that you start reading and it's about island life and island love and summer love and all of that great stuff, but also has a little bit of mystery in it and all of that? Well, that is this book. That is Endless Turquoise. Now I'm going to leave it up to Trudy to tell me more about the novel, about her, and about her island life on beautiful Anguilla. Trudy, thank you so much for being with us today. You are the first person I am interviewing for this new vlog series I'm starting on my YouTube channel, and I am so excited that it's you. Trudy and I, for a little background story for the people that are joining us today, Trudy and I are friends. She lives on Anguilla. She has a publication that comes out annually promoting the island called True Anguilla. You said that unfortunately now it's not in print because of the COVID, but you will have it online still. So everybody that wants information about Anguilla, go to True Anguilla. I guess it's trueanguilla.com.
Correct. Yeah. And in actual fact, there's still copies around. It's just that we won't be doing a brand new one for until late in 2021 because of the situation. We're going to use up these ones first, and then. But all the new content is going online.
Okay, fantastic. Now, and then recently, you just became an author of a different kind. You now have a self-published novel. Well done. I'm so excited because I read it. You sent it to me and I read it. In the beginning, I was a little, because there was so much going on in my life. But once I sat down and read it, I think I had it done. I finished it in a week. And God completely fell in love with the two characters. But we'll talk more about that later. What I love about it is that there's a couple of aspects from your life, I can imagine, your experiences, having moved there from Wiltshire. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Wiltshire is where I was born and brought up, and then I moved to London, Clapham Common, which is also in the book. So the locations kind of reflect some of my life, yeah.
And then, so since we're talking about your upbringing and then what brought you to Anguilla, can you tell us a little about that? How did that go? I mean, you visited the Caribbean, fell in love, but then ultimately you chose Anguilla as the place you wanted to reside. How come?
I came on a kind of exploration trip, and I ended after falling in love when I went to Tobago. That was the first island that I went to, and I just knew the moment I got off the plane, everything smelt right, felt right, sounded right. I knew I needed to live in the Caribbean. And then I came on a sort of 6-week recce, I guess, and I went on a boat. I flew into St. Martin because it's such a great hub for so many islands. And I went on something called the Windjammer, and I had a ticket booked at St. Martin sort of 10 days after the Windjammer. So I decided that wherever I liked the best that I visited on the Windjammer, I would go and spend those remaining days. And that place was Anguilla. It was tight. It was a tight race between Anguilla and Nevis. I love both of them, but Anguilla it was.
Wow. Okay. Well, I can imagine though, because Nevis has a lot in common with Anguilla. A lot of people don't really see that, but I think it's pretty much the same size. I think both islands are 35 square
Yeah.
miles, and it's also both of them are laid back. The only thing that Anguilla has that Nevis does not have is these amazing beaches. That's the
Mm.
only thing. Although the beaches on Nevis are not exactly terrible either, but
No, no, no.
but both of them are very, very similar, you know?
Yeah. I think for me, I was coming, and everyone has authentic Caribbean. Every island is different, every experience is authentic. But for me, that was the type of Caribbean I was looking for, small, laid back, and just the people. I remember the people I met in Nevis that first day, and I remember the people that I met in Anguilla that first day. And I think in the end, it came down to, I spotted a cute little hotel in Anguilla, and I could get the ferry over from St. Martin when the Windjammer finished. And I just loved that. I loved being able to be on a boat, arrive on an island on a boat. It just felt so right.
I can completely understand that, because a lot of people think that I was born and raised on St. Martin, but that's not accurate. I myself am also an what do you call it, a transplant. I was I was born and raised in Curacao. I was living in the Netherlands at the time when I fell in love with St. Martin, and I moved straight from Europe here without
Mm.
knowing anybody. And I just went from there, and it's been, now next month's going to be 20 years. So I can imagine, I know that feeling of when you just decide, okay, I'm going to make this island is where I want to live the rest of my
Mm.
days, and you actually make that step. Because a lot of people think about doing it, but then they're scared of making the step, or whatever the reason is behind it. What was your motivation to make it happen?
It was a combination of things, and I was in my late 30s. Very good, very, very good job in London. Great apartment. But I just had a series of sort of life's too short moments. A friend was diagnosed with cancer and survived, but that was and my mother had a big heart attack and survived. I too personally, I actually got mumps of all things, but nobody realised what it was. It was adult mumps. And it was the first time I've ever been ill. And it was the first time I kind of confronted my own mortality. And I thought, I don't want to die in London in my beautiful but apartment in London. There's a lot more kind of life to live. So that's really what kind of pushed me. That's what pushed me forward. And I was lucky. I was kind of footloose and fancy free. I'd been working very hard. I had some savings, and I also had a great little apartment that I could rent out. So I was able to do the first few, that first 6 months or so, and kind of give it a go.
Okay, so that was in 2003, and you've been calling Anguilla home ever since.
Yeah.
Have you had at any time the feeling that you wanted to return, or not yet, or do you think it will ever
No.
happen?
No, I think, I mean, I always say never, because if somebody had asked, I loved my life in London. I had a wonderful life in London. I had great friends, great job. I partied my ass off for 20 years, a great time. So, and I would never have thought I would have ended up being in the Caribbean for 20 years. Close to 20 years. So who knows? We never know what's going to happen. But at the moment, this is very, very much home. I have my Anguilla family here now. I have my fur family here now. I have a home and businesses. And so I've always said probably, it would be health, maybe in the end, because Anguilla's quite small and all of that. But if I can manage myself, I can't see one up. I think this pandemic, as you know, we've been locked down for nearly a year now. It's been quite difficult for any of us to leave, and we've hardly had anyone here. And if anything kind of demonstrates that this is a wonderful place to live, that does. It really has been an extraordinary experience being here for the last year.
We're here to talk about your new novel, Endless Turquoise. Am I saying that right? English is not my first language, so I'm always struggling with words like turquoise. Is it turquoise?
Yes.
Okay,
I
so I
say
said it right.
turquoise. Yeah. I say turquoise, and that's because that's the color that is Anguilla for me.
And I was thinking about it when I was preparing for our meeting today, and I was thinking, ugh, this drama called the pandemic. It's so terrible because you and I should be actually on Showbay East with a rum punch from Maderamin in our hands right now, talking about this book. We should not be doing it from Zoom, but okay, this is life at the moment. So tell us a little bit about Endless Turquoise. What's it about? Who is it for? I mean, I read it, like I said, in a week, and I could not put it down, and I'm just waiting for a continuation of the story.
Oh, thank you. And I appreciate that so much, because it's hard putting a book out there. It's hard, like you put so much into it. So I think it's a romantic escapist read, and for me, it's a book for people who, who trawl the bookshelves and they're looking for something that's going to take them out of their real life and into maybe into holiday mode, into vacation mode, and who love to sort of discover the world through storytelling. So the Caribbean, I say there's three characters. There's a Tracy, who's a 40-something-year-old who's coming to the Caribbean for the first time, who's investigating a sort of disturbing family secret. There's Charlotte, who's much younger, and who's on her honeymoon, and then there's the Caribbean. There's the island of Zephyr. I think that is the third character, because I really want to get that experience across of how incredible this region is and how it just changes your life. And when you leave it, it gives you something. It gives you the mental headspace to kind of think about what you really want in life. So that's the kind of premise of the book, really.
But I love that you actually chose two. Well, one of them might not look brave in the beginning, but towards the end of the book, you see how brave she actually really is.
Mm-hmm.
But I love to see two brave women as the center of the story, and how they're leading completely different lives, but then still get together towards the end of the book, without having to, spill too much of what the book is about. Why did you pick? And I think you and I had this conversation before. Of course, me reading this book, I recognize a lot of St. Martin in it. I recognize some other Caribbean islands in there. And I also, of course, recognize Anguilla in a lot of this third character that you introduced, Zephyr, this island Zephyr. But it's not completely based on Anguilla, is it?
No, it's definitely not. And I have had some people say, "Oh, who's this?" And it's not. It's fictional, and the two characters are fictional, even though they both have a little bit of me in and little bit of my friends in, and people that I know, but they're fictional. I think I wanted just to highlight how extraordinary this region is. I've been blessed, like you, Rise, to be able to travel quite widely and in the region, and every single island has a completely different character, and a lot of them is different languages and quite often very different cultures. The Spanish islands are very different from the French, from the English, and all of that. But there is this underlying Caribbeanness to all of them. So of course I wanted to get some of the things in there that were about Anguilla, but a lot of it, the lyrical stuff is like the beach bars and stuff like that, and no one particular place.
I really felt like I was at one of those beach bars that I love in Anguilla, with my feet in the sand and looking at that beautiful water, rum punch in my hand. And it really transported me back there. And especially now that I am unable to visit, it kind of brought me back, which was nice. But for somebody who has never been, how can they, I wonder if they can translate it as well as I can.
What's been extraordinary has been the unsolicited comments I've got back from, quite often it's friends who have recommended it on to other friends, but I've had amazing comments about how it's transported them, how it's, picked them up in, they're in lockdown London, and it's picked them up and transported them to the Caribbean. So I've had lots of really amazing comments, which actually kind of just I get all kind of teary when I hear them.
It's a wonderful book. It really is. It has mystery. It has romance. And you know what I love about it is I'm not one of those like really cheesy romance novel kind of person. And that's what I liked about it. It does have romance, but it also has a lot of mystery. It has shocking moments, that I was like, "Ooh, no, he didn't." Kind of moments, which were fantastic. So it kind of reads well and it doesn't stick with only one, and it's not only all drama. It's got its fun moments and its great hilarious moments that you can recognize yourself in, whether it's that moment is playing itself on the island of Zephyr or in the countryside of the UK, of England. So it's that's what I loved about it. Everybody can kind of find a character that they relate to in this story.
Thank you. It's very much not just a boy meets girl, hit some problems, make it up again. There's a lot more going on in there than the romance, but the romance, of course, is very important. But I have also got this whole world in my head now of Zephyr, and what I'm doing at the moment is writing finishing up the second and third books, and bringing in other islands, bringing in other storylines. So I'm kind of thinking about it in the long term, in terms of a book series that takes some of the characters and takes them off in different directions. And the Caribbean is still going to be in there, but I'm also introducing some other destinations as well, because I need to escape to Greece sometimes.
I can completely imagine. But that's one thing though, and I'm so happy that you said that you're going to continue with the world that you've created, because then at least we still have Tracy and Charlotte, for the time being, because you really do fall in love with the two of them towards the end, or especially during the book. You kind of like they become your friend. So it was really hard, I have to say, at the end of the book, when I was like, what? It's finished? What am I going to do now?
Thank you.
So it's like, we want more. And I'm really happy that you've decided to continue with the story, and that you're going to, they're both going to come back. So
yes,
that's good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, now tell me something. Some of your favorite beach bars on Anguilla, which ones would that be? And did you probably based some of the beach bars that are making their debut in your story, they probably based on some of these beach bars, correct?
Yes. I mean, there's elements of these, like I said, and they do also, but there's also bits and pieces from other places that I've been to. But I mean, always say that in my experience of the Caribbean, Anguilla has the most and coolest beach bars. I mean, we have amazing amounts. So most other places, there's people say, oh, there's that one you have to go to, In Anguilla, it's like, well, you want to go east, north, south, west, there's so many. So you would look, you on somewhere like Rendezvous Bay, which looks over to St. Martin, as we know, you've got everything from a kind of, the Dune Preserve, which is like a late night made out of driftwood kind of bar with, this incredible singer Banky Banks singing in it, which is sometimes open during the day, but really
sometimes not.
And then a little bit further down the beach, you've got Garvey Sunshine Shack, which is this 100% day place, really, in all the Rasta colours. You've got Garvey doing his Garvey thing. He's like so charming. He's got beach service. He's got live music during the day.
And the fish is fantastic.
Yeah, only a very limited menu, but it's all, all barbecue, and it's fantastic. So you've got places like that. Or then you go, you pop out down to Sandy Ground. You've got Elvis's, which is just, fantastic and iconic. So it's like a boat bar. The New Lit Lounge, which is a lot of fun, which is more of a late night place. You go on to down onto Shoal Bay, and you've got all sorts of places up and down Madeira and are doing a great job. Uncle Ernie's has come back, Elodia's further up the beach. It's non-stop. And then places off in Island Harbour, which has just become like an alternative sort of I mean, it really is incredibly popular. It always was popular with people that lived in that end, but now people are driving up to Island Harbour, and there's a bar called Everett's or Pelicans, and I think it's like the quintessential beach bar. Honestly, you know, it's a mix, always a mix of tourists and locals. You can sit and watch the fish coming in. You know, Everett is just a brilliant, comfy host. You know, it's just got the perfect combination. So there's so many places to go. If you want to be a beach bar bum, you can do it now.
And then, so the hotel that Charlotte spends her honeymoon, is there any secret place that you kind of base that on that's actually in Anguilla or not? I couldn't really figure it out.
Well, I think anyone who does a little research on Anguilla knows we have some extraordinary 5-star properties, and there, I would say that Paradise Point, which is essentially a mixture of the very iconic Capchaluca, Malliahana Hotel, and I would say it's got a little bit of La Semana from St. Martin in it as well. It's that sort of property.
It actually, that's so funny that you mentioned it, because I did get a feel of the La Semana. I don't know if it's because of how you described it. Okay, so Trudy, before I let you go, do you have the cover of the book that you can show our listeners, readers, and watchers? Look at that. I just love the big hat, and then the turquoise, the ocean in the background is just gorgeous. So this book, you can get it where exactly? So I know you have it on Amazon.
So at the moment, it's exclusively on Amazon, and I did that as a self-published author. That just gives me the widest distribution at this point. But you can buy it as an ebook, and you can also buy it as a paperback. And it's a very pretty paperback, I must say.
I'm just dying to have my own version of the paperback, because I want to get it signed by you, of course.
Absolutely. So. Well, when I come, and it even has illustrations in the inside.
Oh, that is awesome.
Which I love. Well, absolutely. And of course, as soon as I'm able to, I'm going to come to St. Martin and bring a whole box over, and we're going to...
exactly. We need to do a little tour, a little book tour on St. Martin, and maybe even Nevis and St. Kitts. Who knows? We'll probably take those into it too. Yeah.
Maybe we should do that.
Okay, so for anybody, before I let you go again, before we close this off, as you know, the first ever interview that I'm doing over Zoom, and that I am actually gonna be posting on my YouTube channel. What do you recommend for a first-time Anguilla visitors? Like, what places would you recommend? And I know there's a whole list, but what would you tell a first-time Anguilla visitor?
I'm biting myself in the foot here, because I have an Airbnb that isn't on the beach, but do stay on a beach. You know, definitely book yourself onto a beach. I think a really good, like what I would call a mid-level option, is to go to somewhere like Carrimar or Tranquility Beach on Meads Bay, or go to Shoal Bay Villas over on Shoal Bay. So you get, or the Anguilla Great House on Rendezvous Bay, if you're not in the sort of super luxury, and just have that experience that really only Anguilla, I think, offers so far, that I know of, stepping out of your apartment or your condo directly onto the beach, directly onto the sand, being able to lie out there at night and watch the stars if you need to, without feeling uncomfortable, or you know, and dine around, hire a car, dine around. There's nowhere you can't go in Anguilla. It's safe as houses. And make sure you visit a different beach bar every day.
But yes, though, I must say, it's like it's definitely an island like no other. And I fell in love with it that first time that I actually spent the night, because I used to do a lot of day trips. And the day trips are fun, but at the end of the day, you got to drag all your stuff back on the ferry and then back home.
Yeah. Oh no, you'll come in for a week at least the next time.
Oh gosh, yes.
There's a room. There's
2 weeks. I've missed it too much. I know. I can't wait to experience your Airbnb. So for those who want to know more about your Airbnbs, can you tell us a little bit about that as well? Because that gives you a different option. As a lot of people don't realize that, but Anguilla is not only 5-star resorts. There are other options on the island.
Yeah, there's some, and actually this has happened in the last couple of years. It's really gone crazy. people have really embraced the Airbnb scene. So whereas it used to be impossible to get a room under $100 a night in Anguilla, you can now do that. A lot of them are kind of at small apartment blocks, so you might even have self-catering facilities. I myself have a very pretty little garden studio, which is really like a glorified hotel room in the West End. So it's a great place to stay, to explore. And I offer discounted rates for single people, because I often travel as a single person. So I'm always like, why do I have to pay the same as
Exactly.
Yeah, and I have a little studio right here in the West End, and the rack rate starts at 75 inclusive, but if people stay a bit longer, I do a discount. So it's which is actually about, because Anguilla, you have to watch out for the taxes. It's usually 20% on top. So I'm really going for the affordable end of the market and hoping that people will come and stay for a week and hire a car and explore.
Fantastic. I really love it. And
Hummingbird Garden.
Yeah, good one. I'll put a link down below in case anybody is interested in renting the Hummingbird. And I'll also add a link to the Amazon, if you want to buy your copy of Endless Turquoise. Well, Trudy, thank you so much for agreeing to this interview, for having the time to spend with me online for a little bit and to tell us all about Endless Turquoise, your beloved Anguilla. And we even got introduced to two of your little fur babies in the background. So.
Oh, and I really, really appreciate you supporting me with this, Rise, and I think it's fabulous. I love what you do in St. Martin. I love your videos, and I can't wait to get back to the Friendly Island.
The next interview, we're going to have it one-on-one on the beach. Promise.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. From
Oh, God, for sure. Thanks again, Trudy.
Bye.